Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hamilton's July 4th Patriotic Ceremony for 2013. Rain did not stop us. The rain did not stop us. Doesn't stop the American spirit. On July 4th, 1776, 56 brave men representing 13 colonies declared independence from Great Britain. We celebrate that declaration today. And 15 years after 1776, Hamilton was established. So we are also celebrating 222 years of Hamilton's history. Please stand if you are able and remove your hats for an invocation, the posting of colors, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the Star-Spangled Banner. First in line is the invocation from Reverend John Lewis, pastor of the Presbyterian Church and a community leader as well.
Thank you, Pat. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Almighty and everlasting God, on this day of celebration of our independence, we lift up our hearts to you in gratitude for the gift of being Americans. We rejoice with all those who share in the great dream of freedom and dignity for all. As we gather here with flags, parades, and celebrations, with family and friends, we pause to salute those who have sacrificed so much that we might be free, and those who continue to serve and protect our freedom. We pray that you will be our guide, both now and in the generations to come, so that we might be a light to the world and a place of refuge to all. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. We will now have the posting of colors by Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 15. Thank you, DAV, Chapter 15. Well, now the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Webelo's Cub Scout, Xander Roberts. He's 10 years old, from Pack 926, sponsored by Grace United Methodist Church. Please lead us, Xander.
If Scouts, salute. If not, place your right hand over your heart. And join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Xander. That was an excellent job. We will now have the Star-Spangled Banner. That'll be sung by Miss Caitlin Moore. Caitlin is a 7th grader at Fairfield Middle School, is a member of the Rhythm Express Show Choir, and she's a vocal student of Hamilton's own Bess Arlene Camacho. And Caitlin is a fine young lady. She's very active in her church, Laurel Avenue Church of Christ. Caitlin Moore.
Say, can you see? broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Caitlin, that was excellent. That was beautiful. Thank you very, very much. You've got some proud parents there. We are a free country because of the sacrifices of those who defended us. We're next going to recognize the veterans who were in our parade today. And there were quite a few of them. And if you'll hold your applause till the end, I want to read to you their names and just a little bit about them. We had Rick Shields from the U.S. Navy, served in the Vietnam War, 2 tours of duty, proud member of the Masons. Robert Watson, a Montford Point Marine from World War II, who recently received a Congressional Medal. Robert Farley, U.S. Army Air Corps, World War II, member of our greatest generation, a citizen soldier who came home from the military and then worked for our post office here. Howard Young, U.S. Army, World War II, Armor Division in North Africa. He helped liberate Italy. Ken Brown, U.S. Army, Vietnam War, retired as a captain after 16 years. Hamilton students once sent him a 31-foot-long letter while he was in the military. Alan McComb, U.S. Army, Vietnam War, from Fairfield. He has attended the Partners in Crime Veterans Discussion Group, which you'll hear about in just a little bit. Daniel Taylor, U.S. Army, Vietnam War. He was a gunner as well as involved with medical evacuations. Daniel Hancock is with us today, U.S. Navy, Vietnam War, served more than 20 years, and he has worked with City Council on many city improvements. Mark Dooley, he could not make the parade, but he might be here, United States Marine Corps, Gulf War, and Afghanistan. He continues to help veterans who are coming home now. And I saw a billboard here recently in Hamilton which says, we need to welcome home the brave. And let's all definitely do this when they get home. We had with us, originally from Hamilton, Ohio, Lieutenant General Rick Lynch from the U.S. Army, the War on Terror. And he was driven by Air Force veteran C.B. Michael, whose father was a POW in World War II. And you'll hear from General Lynch here very shortly. Howard Green is with us today, U.S. Navy, World War II. Howard was very involved in our community, remains that way, with the Open Door Food Pantry. He's also a fine community leader. Howard Cohen was in the parade today, United States Air Force, World War II. He is the leader and curator of the Veterans Discussion Group, which meets at Partners in Crime, a proud veteran. Craig Rourke is with us today. You may have seen his sign, Butler County Veteran of the Year from the Marine Corps. He's also a member of the Marine Corps League, and we need to give a special salute to them because they were also involved with Marine Robert Watson's ceremony. Marine Corps League, Craig Rourke was driven by Marine Jim Kowalski. David Brownfield was with us today, United States Navy, World War II. He came home from the war and had an impressive career at Ohio Casualty, and he continues to serve on our City Utility Commission. Hank Taylor, U.S. Army, Vietnam War. We talked last night quite a bit, Hank and I did. He followed his orders and he served his country well. Darlene Fields was with us today, Women's Army Corps from Vietnam War. Every day, Darlene does something to serve her country through veteran recognition projects and is a proud AMVETS member. Bob Sherwin was with us today from the United States Air Force, the Korean War. Professor at Miami University, He also serves on our historic Hamilton board. John Barrington, Korean War Veterans Discussion Group member. He's also a proud veteran. We have two gentlemen who were in the United States Navy World War II submariners, Harold Redden and Frank Weiss. We also had veteran Ramondo Wood with us. If able, could all veterans please stand and accept the applause from our July 4th attendees here today. Thank you, men and women, very, very much, all of you veterans from all conflicts. We're now going to have some patriotic music from Hamilton's own Olivia Yokers. I messed that up, Olivia. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it again. Hamilton's own Olivia Yokers. But you got to hear about her. She's a 2010 graduate of Hamilton High School and is an incoming senior at Indiana University's prestigious Jacobs School of Music, where she's majoring in vocal music performance. Olivia recently won first prize in the Dayton Opera Guild's collegiate vocal competition. She also received first place in the Indianapolis Symphony vocal competition and was named the winner of 2011 Cincinnati Opera Idol contest. This summer you can see Olivia perform in the Cincinnati Opera's production of Aida. Tickets are now on sale at the Cincinnati Opera box office. Please enjoy this young lady's vocal now because she's going places. She's really going places. She'll be singing Paper Doll and then followed by God Bless America with the Hamilton Concert Band. Let's hear it for Hamilton's own Olivia Yokers.
I've heard you've had 1,000,000 dolls or more. I've heard you played the doll game o'er and o'er. I just quarreled with you, and that's why you're blue. I've gone away and left you like all dolls do. You tell me that it's tough to be alone, and it's tough to love a doll that's not your own. You're through with all of them, you'll never fall again, and this is what you say you're gonna do. You're gonna buy a paper doll that you can call your own, a doll that other fellas cannot steal. And then those flirty, flirty guys with their flirty, flirty eyes will have to flirt with dollies that are real. When you come home at night, she will be waiting. She'll be the truest doll in all this world. You'd rather have a paper doll to call your own than have a fickle-minded real-life girl. You're through with all of them, you'll never fall again, and this is what you say you're gonna do. Gonna buy a paper doll that you can call your own, a doll that other fellas cannot steal. And then those flirty, flirty guys with their flirty, flirty eyes will have to flirt with dollies that are real. When you come home at night, she will be waiting. You'll be the truest doll in all this world. You'd rather have a paper doll to call your own than have a fickle-minded real, fickle-minded real, fickle-minded real live girl. Thank you. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
You're going to hear that voice at various operas and I'm sure inaugurations over the years. That was fabulous. Thank you, Olivia. I want to introduce and have him raise his umbrella or wave his hand, our parade grand marshal, Mike Dingledine. If he is here, have him raise an umbrella or have him raise a hand. Mike volunteers and works every day to make Hamilton a better place in which to live, work, and play. He's a community leader. Mike's also a community builder, and he's Hamilton's Citizen of the Year. We're now going to go into our speeches. Our two speakers today are giants in the history of Hamilton, Ohio. One became a legend in Hamilton, and his successful efforts have radiated from Hamilton. The other took his Hamilton upbringing and served this nation from locales all around the world. And they are each examples of one man making a difference. Our first speaker is Dave Ballou. And I want to read a little bit about about Dave. He joined the Beckett Paper Company in 1960 and advanced from the firm's advertising department to become the president, serving in that position from 1974 until his retirement in 1992. Dave Ballou volunteers with so many different groups, including the Hamilton Community Foundation, a group that he has been involved with for more than 50 years. United Way, Lane Public Library, Hamilton Boys and Girls Club, Fitness Center for the Creative Arts, Hamilton Economic Development Corporation, our Parks and Recreation Commission, Hillsdale College in Michigan, Open Door Food Pantry, American Heart Association, and it goes on, including the Hamilton Fairfield Symphony Orchestra. Dave Ballou has received numerous awards, and he's had awards named after him. The awards Legacy, Foundation, Development apply to him. A recent book just said, without a doubt, Hamilton is a far better place in which to live as a result of Dave Ballou's contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Ballou.
Thank you, Pat. This year, our city celebrates its 222nd birthday. Hamilton was founded as a military fort in 1791 on the banks of the great Miami River by General Arthur St. Clair, who had fought in the Revolutionary War and became governor of the very important and large Northwest Territory. The site of the fort, about the size of a football field, was selected because of its location on the river. It was situated so that crossing the river was easy. The fort served as a supply center to maintain the hundreds of horses. Between 50 and 100 troops were stationed there. Letters from those early settlers described the abundant wildlife. They wrote about catching fish in baskets, about many hay fields and blacksmith shops. Fort Hamilton was the first in a relay of forts that led to Fort Wayne. General St. Clair was a Federalist, so he named his first fort in what is now Cincinnati, Fort Washington, in honor of the president. And he named his second fort after Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury. Early pioneers migrated from the eastern United States to our area. They heard from hunters, trappers, and occasional Indian runners about the abundant wildlife and bounty that was lying in the western part of the Ohio country. They were attracted by vast virgin forest, by unlimited fertile land, and abundance of timber, game, and navigable streams. The years between 1791 and 1820 were primitive times, and people relied upon their basic pioneer skills and farming. The Erie Canal, which started in upstate New York, caught the attention of Hamilton leaders who realized that cities that thrive depend upon transportation, rivers, canals, and railroads. So they established the Miami-Erie Canal here and connected it to the Erie Canal. They also built the Hamilton-Rossville hydraulic, which stimulated new industry. Hamilton's proximity to Cincinnati, the largest city in the West, was advantageous. Cincinnati had many German immigrants, and during the 1840s and 50s, many of these people moved to Hamilton. And a great industrial development occurred. The canal, the hydraulic, and the underground water supply led to the building of paper mills, woolen mills, cotton mills, sawmills, and other manufacturing plants. From its earliest days, churches played a major role in the development of our city. Butler County was well represented during the Civil War, as 4 out of every 6 eligible men fought for the Union, and Hamilton provided talented military leadership. In the years following the Civil War, 1865 to 1900, Hamilton participated in the Industrial Revolution that was sweeping the country. Railroads were a prominent factor, in this industrial boom. The Great Flood of 1913, our city's worst weather disaster, took hundreds of lives, and thousands of buildings were damaged and destroyed. As it has in other times of adversity, Hamilton recovered, and its leaders were instrumental in organizing a unique flood protection system, the Miami Conservancy District. Hamilton was recognized as the most industrialized city of its size in the United States. During World War II, 125 of its factories retooled to make war products, and over 16,000 men and women from Hamilton served in the armed forces. Much has changed in recent decades. Our skyline is different. We're no longer a concentrated industrial center. However, we are home to many successful businesses and manufacturing and high-tech companies. The low-level dam has resulted in a vibrant river corridor and new river activities. And importantly, we have redefined ourselves as a cultural center. Architecture, art, and music have always been part of our rich history. However, they have reemerged strongly in many ways. We are now the city of sculpture. We have an extraordinary arts center, an award-winning theater, and an outstanding symphony orchestra and chorale. And our city's long and rich history is celebrated and preserved in our courthouse, our monument, and our museums. Hamilton is now a destination for tourism. Looking back over our 222 years, it seems to me that three traits are characteristic of Hamiltonians: leadership, responsibility, and generosity. Generations of Hamiltonians have loved this city, and they have provided talented and courageous leadership. At crucial times, they have taken on responsibilities. Our beautiful buildings, our large park system, our hundreds of scholarships are all testimonials to the generosity of individuals and businesses. And today, that generosity is centered around the Hamilton Community Foundation. Since it was founded in 1951, the foundation has granted over $90 million in grants. And today, its assets exceed $80 million. The foundation is a dominant factor in helping to move Hamilton forward. Happy birthday, Hamilton. God bless America, and God bless our great city.
Thank you, Dave. You are definitely a Hamilton legend. Thank you for all you do for our city. As a special introduction to Lieutenant General Lynch's speech, we have some patriotic music sung by elementary students from HAMS, Hamilton Area Musical Summer. These elementary students came from many of our Hamilton elementary schools. On the weekend of July 12th, they'll be performing Little Mermaid Jr. at Hamilton High School. Today they will be singing a patriotic medley. They under the direction of Mrs. Terry McKee, Mrs. Chrissy Fox, and Mrs. Mag Haven. Ladies and gentlemen, elementary students from HAMS. Give them a round of applause.
And forever in peace may you reign.
They steal the show every year. And now, our next speaker, another giant in Hamilton history, Lieutenant General Rick Lynch, a three-star general, was born and raised in Hamilton, Ohio, a 1973 graduate of Hamilton Taft High School. He started his long military career upon graduating from the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York in June 1977. His military career path ultimately took him to the highest level as commander of 3rd Corps. He has served in key leadership positions in combat zones in Iraq and Kosovo, and he helped lead the surge in Iraq. His career has been hallmarked by recognized leadership around the world, including combat zones, strong caring for our soldiers, and innovative practices to improve soldier family life. He has been responsible for 154 armory installations worldwide. Combining his impeccable work ethic with an open heart, he also effectively lowered divorce rates and suicide rates at Fort Hood, Texas, by restructuring work schedules and mandating soldier family time. Those are tough issues this man had to address. Lieutenant General Lynch has been highly decorated during his military career, including Distinguished Service Medal, Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, all with oak leaf clusters. He is also a member of the AMVETS Post 1983 in Hamilton. Now retired, he has come back home many times to speak with high school seniors, crowds at Hamilton's July 4th ceremony, and leadership conferences. He is married to his wife, Sarah, who is with us here today. Lieutenant General Rick Lynch has also written a book on leadership principles, Adapt or Die, Frontline Principles from an American General. Ladies and gentlemen, an American hero, Lieutenant General Rick Lynch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a short introduction this time with the rain and the conditions. And I don't go anywhere these days without my beautiful wife, Sarah, and I want to explain why that is. You know, we've been at war now for 12 years in this global war on terrorism, and the stress and strain on our service members is very difficult, but the stress and strain on our families is unbelievable and almost unbearable. So for all the veterans that were recognized earlier, they had behind them a strong and supportive family, and they deserve to be recognized as well. So please, a round of applause for our military families. I'm always tickled to come home for celebrations. I was born and raised in Hamilton, Ohio, as Pat mentioned. In fact, my dad still lives in the house, and I was born in on Fairhaven Drive. It's great to come back for celebrations, especially ones as important as this. Now, it's a true statement that 237 years ago, our forefathers declared independence on the 4th of July of 1776. It's interesting to note that the Declaration of Independence wasn't signed for 2 months later because they had the same government bureaucracy back then that we do now. But 2 months after that, it was signed. 56 gentlemen signed the Declaration, the oldest being Ben Franklin at the age of 70, the youngest being Thomas Lynch, who I'm not sure he is kin, but I kind of hope that he is. We call it a Declaration of Independence. We declared our independence from Great Britain that day. But candidly, over time, it has morphed to more of a celebration of freedoms. And that's what we do as a nation now on the 4th of July, is celebrate our freedoms. We have freedom of choice, we have freedom of religion, we have freedom of speech, all the freedoms identified in our Bill of Rights, and those freedoms aren't free, and people are paying a cost. We always recognize the veterans, as we should. Less than 1% of the American public have served our nation in uniform, but we all enjoy the freedoms provided by that select few. And I'm glad that we recognize the veterans, and I want to recognize one particularly today, and that's my father, Calvin Lynch. Proudly served in the United States Army from 1945 to 1947, and served our nation like the many other members of the greatest generation did at that time. But I think we got to expend it. Thank you. I think we got to extend our appreciations past just the uniformed military. Our freedoms are protected by a variety of people. They're protected by our public servants like Pat Moeller and our city council. They're protected by our professionals, our doctors, our lawyers. They're protected by our law enforcement personnel and our firefighters. They place their lives in danger every day to protect our freedoms, and we have to recognize that. But there is a special group that I want to recognize, I say service members guarantee protect our future and our way of life, but educators guarantee our future. And candidly, we don't acknowledge the impact that educators and administrators have on our future. They protect our freedoms as well. So if you're an educator in the audience or an administrator of a school, please stand up so we can recognize you as well. God bless you for what you do. Now, I worry about our nation. We take freedom for granted because that's all we've known. Sarah and I have had the opportunities over our 35 years in uniform to be around people who didn't have freedoms. We were there when the wall came tumbling down in 1989, and we saw the East Germans experience freedom for the first time. And we traveled into East Germany and saw what a country looked like without freedom. I was there for Desert Shield and Desert Storm when we liberated the Kuwaitis from the oppressive regime of Saddam Hussein, and they expressed their appreciation for what we gave them then. I was there in Kosovo when we were trying to keep the Kosovo Serbs from killing the Kosovo Albanians, and they indeed needed freedoms. They needed freedom from fear. And I had the opportunity to serve in Iraq on 3 different tours, and the Iraqi people are wonderful people, 16 million wonderful people. On any given day, there was only about 10,000 evil insurgents, and we were working to protect the people of Iraq from that tyranny. So today we're celebrating freedoms. As a city, as a country, we're celebrating our freedoms. I leave you with 3 things. The first is we got to teach our children that freedom is not free. Now, they're growing up in a society where all they know is freedom as they watch the parade, as they sing for us in a miraculous fashion. But they have to know the cost of freedom. They have to understand that people have to dedicate their lives to protect our freedom. And we have to encourage our children to choose a path of service. My favorite book is a book entitled A Life God Rewards. And in the book, the author says, God really doesn't care how many stars you wear or how much money you make. He cares about how many people you touch. We have to teach our children, encourage our children to dedicate their lives to the service of others. And it doesn't have to be in the military. It can be in all those things I talked about at the beginning. The second thing I want to make you aware of, you got to be prepared to defend our freedoms, because there are people out there who hate the fact that we have these freedoms. And candidly, on 9/11, our nation was attacked, and 3,000 of our citizens were killed on our soil. We as a nation have a short-term memory, and sometimes people forget that we were attacked. I got to tell you, folks, the people who attacked us that day, they're still out there, and they still hate us. And you have to be prepared to defend our freedoms. Just look at what happened with the Boston Marathon. You think the people who were at the Boston Marathon thought that the terrorists were going to attack that day? No. So we as a nation, we got to be vigilant. We got to continue to protect our freedoms wherever we are, whether it's on the battlefield in Afghanistan or on Main Street in Hamilton, Ohio. Be prepared to protect your freedoms. And lastly, I encourage you to live every day like it's your last, because it may be. It may be. You walk through a cemetery. Dad and I will go visit my mom, who's buried out here in Rose Hill. And as you walk through the cemetery, you see these tombstones. And on the tombstones, you see a start date and an end date. And in the middle, what you see is a dash. And on a daily basis, you ought to ask yourself, how are you living your dash? Are you truly putting yourself behind the service of others? Are you truly working to protect our freedoms? Are you truly working to be an important portion of our society? So I leave you with that. Please celebrate your freedom today, but know that that freedom wasn't free, and it came at a great cost. Please tell your children about the cost of freedom so they don't grow up oblivious to the fact that there are evil people out there that want to take our freedoms away. Please be prepared to protect your freedoms on any day, wherever you are, and please live that last day, live that day, your last day, like it's your last, because it could potentially be. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant General Lynch, for accomplishing your mission taking care of your men, and a special thanks to your father for being here today with us. These two men you just heard from are men who've made a difference that's affected all of our lives. And from this podium, you've heard from two very, very special people. I want to thank our speakers. Thank the Hamilton Concert Band, directed by David Birchfield. Thank all the high school marching bands and organizations and individuals that participated in this rainy day parade. Thank the Hamilton Community Foundation, the Michael J. Colligan Fund. Without them, we would not have a parade. We would not have this patriotic ceremony. Thank the hard workers of the Hamilton 4th of July Committee. Thank of our donors, Fort Hamilton Hospital, which presents our fireworks, Fifth Third Bank, Eagles number 407, Mr. and Mrs. Bill Groth, and our many, many generous friends. Thank our Boy Scouts again, our Girl Scouts. Thank DAV Chapter 15. And we've got a couple of special scouts who carried the banner today. That was Eagle Scouts carrying the banner, Dale Gibbemeyer Jr. and Zachary Gibbemeyer from Troop 902, sponsored by the Fairfield Civitan Club. Thank you all for being with us here today. You've heard from a lot of young people who are our future giants, just like you heard from General Rick Lynch and Dave Ballou. Thank you very much.